Minister Sir, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. We are very happy that VARIndia has decided this time to hold an event in Calcutta. We have been associated with them. We have been attending their functions earlier. As Dr. Gautam mentioned, mostly it used to be in Delhi. But we are glad he realized the importance of the eastern part of the country. And more and more, I should say, there is a feeling that East, and especially Calcutta, they should find their legitimate place on the IT map of India and of the world. Of course, there have been a lot of consultancies, there are a lot of organizations who have done their survey and they've spoken very well about Calcutta. I mean, Neo-IT, you have Tholones, etc. I don't want to repeat it. But I'll just briefly tell you what we have done over the last 3-4 years in West Bengal and what we are looking ahead. Some of you might be aware that in around 2006, the exports from Calcutta were about 2,200 crores, 2,300 crores. Today we are crossing 6,500 crores. We have over 500 companies. That time we had about 45,000 people working in this sector. Today we have crossed 1 lakh. There is 20 million square feet of office space currently under construction exclusively for IT. And these are not plans and projects, these are actual projects being implemented. So you can imagine over the next couple of years when the space is delivered, we will create job opportunities for an additional 2 lakh people in West Bengal. So this is where we stand, and I think if you take into account the last couple of years of so-called recession, I think we bore it rather well, because there was not a single year where we went down in negative. And in fact, as Minister may like to elaborate on that, this year Calcutta is the only state along with Noida which has registered a positive growth rate. Otherwise, all other stations, of course, they are way above us in terms of their exports, but they have all registered negative growth this year. We did not have any pink slips flying around. We did not have any company going back on their commitment of employment. We did not have any closure. So I think that speaks very well about Calcutta. If you take into account the overall economic and investment scenario, you'll be surprised to find, I would say surprised because a very different picture is painted about the state. It's a question of perception. But if you take into account, the figures of Govt of India, for the last 10 years, we have, in West Bengal, we are third in terms of investments after Gujarat and Maharashtra. Gujarat, 70,000 crores, Maharashtra, 33,000 crores, and we are at 30,000 crores. And if you look at the per capita income growth rate, you look at the state domestic growth rate, we are among the first or a couple of states in the country. So it's not out of nowhere that we have achieved this growth and development. There is no magic wand to do that. These are very hardcore macroeconomic factors which have been responsible for the growth in West Bengal. And it's very unfortunate that sometimes a very wrong sort of picture is painted of the state. Now, I think just briefly I would like to mention, Dr. Gautam did mention about the employability and these aspects. So yes, it's a very, very important factor. And I would like to say that in addition to about 2 finishing schools which we have already started, we have now decided to set up a training center in each and every district of the state. And these training centers, while they will be used for familiarizing the government servants and children during the daytime, in the evenings they'll run professional courses for the IT industry. So we are going to provide more skilled manpower for this particular industry in our state, and we are committed to that. I'll now tell you what we feel we should do in future, and as the topic also suggests, innovations. In the morning we had a seminar, ISA had organized this seminar, Indian Semiconductor Association, and it was on solar inverters. So you have the solar power system, the PV module, and then you have this inverter. So this inverter, though it constitutes only 10% of the overall cost of the solar power system, but it's a very, very vital part of the system, and it is one of the main weaknesses of the solar power, its reliability and its cost factor. So, semiconductor industry today stands at a crossroad where they can make a very, very valuable contribution to making the solar power more reliable and more affordable. So this is one area, and also within the inverter, you have a lot of ancillaries. You have the rectifier diodes, you have the power transistors, you have the inductors, you have the capacitors, you have the pulse generators. All these things, if there are people here in this room, if they can start manufacturing, then I'm sure in years to come, because of the national mission, there will be a very huge market for this. And they will be very well placed by the time the market really matures in India. And they can always start off, as partners of any global vendor who's, with global suppliers, and you start working for them for their export market, and very soon you will find that there will be a big market in India itself. Another thing I would like to share is that the concept of service delivery is changing and changing very fast. You're no longer just supplying one particular product to anybody or one particular service. It's sort of system integration. You hold their hand, you become their partner, you become the stakeholders, and then only you can move forward. Otherwise, you are spending most of your energy in trying to sort of market yourself, trying to take care of your competitors. But here, identify your core competencies, identify what you are lacking, select a strategic partner, get into an alliance, and then you will find that your strength will increase many folds, and also at the same time you will not be bothered about the competition, because you are with the competition, you are doing it, and as mentioned in the beginning, there is enough for all. And this is something which is, it's no longer an end in itself. It's become a means. The IT industry has become a means to development, a means to every industry, a means to the way of life, because as you can see in power, now people who have sort of tasted power in modern electricity, its efficiency, its cheapness, and its reliability, can they ever go back to the lantern age? Not at all. Similarly, the companies who have taken to ICT tools, they can never revert back. So there is a huge market, there is a lot of potential. I'm sure this industry is not going to see any problem as far as the market is concerned. About the new sort of products, I think one very important thing was briefly touched upon by Dr. Gautam also. You see, in terms of mobile telephones, I think this is going to be one very, very important handhold tool in future. I'm calling it tool because you will be able to do 100 other things with it and also make telephone calls. And we have already tied up with one US company, and we are trying to have some bills, utility bills being paid through the mobile telephone system that we are doing here. In terms of innovation, I would just like to add and mention about a particular company. The American Consul General to Calcutta, Beth Payne, when she came here, and she told me one day that she was going to visit one particular company which is providing some very high-end services to their clients in US. And she went to Durgapur, and the company was Pinnacle. And Pinnacle has been listed in the last 3 years continuously in the NASSCOM list of 100 best companies. And they in Durgapur, it's a small town, and they are doing a wonderful job there. And I think, keeping that in mind, and also the fact that, we want to take IT industry to the other areas out of Calcutta, we got a survey done, and we've identified 5 places, which is Durgapur, Kalyani, Kharagpur, Haldia, and Siliguri. And I'm glad to share with you today that at Siliguri and Durgapur, the IT department itself, through its commercial arm, Webel, we have set up incubation centers there, so companies can definitely come and set up shops there. We already have a project to have about 100 acres of ACZ in Kalyani. In Kharagpur, there have been some private initiatives in Haldia, And in Kharagpur, again, we have got land from government, and we'll be building up an incubation center there also. So the idea is to take ICT to the Mufassil towns also. The idea is to make sure